What is going on, college basketball fans? Today we have yet another episode of Bracketology with Daniology. Less than 2 weeks away from Selection Sunday. We're going to have a couple more of these out before then, including one the day before Selection Sunday, that Saturday, where we are going to predict what the bracket will look like. So subscribe. We got that and a bunch more college basketball content coming. So make sure you guys hit that sub button and let's get it started. Alright, so you guys know how we do it. I'm going to give you guys my top 2 regions, then my regions 3 and 4, and I'm going to go over and explain everything. So I also have my first 10 teams out. I did more than first 4. There are so many that are in consideration right now that have a chance. So I put all of those in. We will go over those at the end as well. So you guys know the teams that are on the bubble that could still get in. There's still time for these teams I have listed. So our first region and our top overall seed is the Houston Cougars. Now this is highly debatable. So if you guys wanted to rush to the comments and say Purdue should be the number 1 overall seed, UConn should be the number 1 overall seed, I will not argue with you because all 3 of these teams honestly are this close. Right now I gave the edge to Houston. I just think the Big 12 is so good and they've been so consistent in the Big 12. I had to give it to them. But Purdue, UConn, if you guys say one of them two should be the number 1 overall seed, I'm fine with that too. But Houston, so they are going to take the South region. Of course, it is in Dallas. That is the closest to them. They would for sure take that. Going up against UT Martin, getting that 16 seed. They're also another Texas team. Would be fun one to see. Definitely one of the stronger 16 seeds here, but I think Houston would handle them pretty well. 8 seed, we do have Nebraska. Now, Nebraska have been playing pretty good. They've gone up and down for me. They were a bubble team for a little bit, but I feel like more consistent lately. I think that they're going to get in, and I feel pretty confident in it. Right now, I have them up as an 8 seed. Cornhuskers definitely doing their best to lock in that spot. They're a great home team as well. Great home team. Very excited to see them play in March Madness. It's been a little bit since they've been there. 9 seed, we do have Colorado State. I do have a lot of Mountain West teams making it in, and I think I'm a little bit higher on the Mountain West as a whole than most. I feel like I'm like a seed higher than most people. I just think it's such a good conference, man, and just because it's not Power 6, I don't believe that should knock them, especially a team like Colorado State who has a non-con win over Creighton, who we'll see over there in the Midwest region is a 3 seed. That is a very good win, and they beat them handily. So I like Colorado State a lot. I love Isaiah Stevens. They're up here as a 9 seed, going to face Nebraska in the first round. 5 seed, we do have Alabama. Now, I'm a little bit lower on Alabama than some people. A lot of people have them as a 5 seed. But the team that I actually have, or a lot of people have them as a 4 seed. I have them as a 5 seed. The team that I actually have above them that most people don't is my 4 seed in this very same region, which is Washington State. So if those 2 teams take care of business against these very good mid-majors, which we will talk about in just a minute, then they will face off, and we'll see who really deserves that 4 seed. But Alabama, I do have as a 5 seed. I think they definitely could get up to a 4 seed, 100%. If you guys wanted to say that they should be a 4 seed, I'm fine with that too. I think Washington State deserves it a little bit more. But Alabama coming in here as a 5 seed. They're probably my top 5 seed. Honestly, them or San Diego State. It is very close between Alabama and San Diego State for me. But Loyola Chicago coming in here as the 12 seed. I do have them winning the A10 championship, A10 tournament, and getting in. I don't think they get in as an at-large. I think the only team that can get in as an at-large is Dayton out of the A10. But I do think we are looking at a 2-bid A10 tournament if Dayton does not win the A10 championship. As long as they get to the championship game and lose, I think Dayton is for sure going to get an at-large. So it is very possible we could see a 2-bid A10, and that is what I have right here. I have Loyola Chicago winning the tournament and getting in as a 12 seed. I'm also rocking the Loyola shirt. Had to put them in as a 12 seed. They just recently beat Dayton as well. They've been playing a lot better as of late. They're turning up at the right time. I like the Ramblers a lot here. And we talked about Washington State. I'm higher on them than most. Most bracketologists I'm seeing have them as a 5 seed, some even maybe a 6. But I really like this Washington State team, and I feel like the Pac-12 is kind of getting knocked on a lot. Other than Arizona. Well, Washington State beat Arizona twice, and I know their non-con isn't anything to write home about at all, but I still believe that they're playing super consistent in the Pac-12, playing very good. I think that they deserve this 4 seed over teams like Alabama and San Diego State right now. That could change. Alabama, San Diego State definitely in the running for this 4 seed, especially if Washington State loses here again in the regular season or loses earlier in the Pac-12 tournament. So they come in here as a 4 seed for me. 13, we do have Grand Canyon, and Grand Canyon a very strong 13 seed, but they have been losing a little bit as of late in their own conference. Tarleton State beat them, which Tarleton State actually not eligible for the tournament, which even if Tarleton State were to beat Grand Canyon in the conference championship game, Grand Canyon would still get in because of that stupid rule, which sucks. But I think Grand Canyon, they have a pretty good chance. There are some other teams in that league that could beat them, like I think Seattle beat Grand Canyon this year out of that league, so it's possible if they can get there. But other than that, it's really Grand Canyon and Tarleton State are the 2 best teams, and even if Grand Canyon loses to them, they'll still get in. I feel pretty good about them getting in. So they get a 13 seed here. But I want to see Grand Canyon in. They're an awesome team. Love to see when they get in. They have a great fan base. But 6 seed, we do have Utah State. Again, I'm a little bit higher on some of these Mountain West teams. I think Utah State deserves at least a 6, possibly even a 5. But I decided to give the 5 to San Diego State. Utah State coming in here as a 6. I think that makes a lot of sense there. San Diego State has a much stronger non-con, but Utah State playing very good in the Mountain West. Coming in here as a 6 seed. 11 seed, we do have St. John's and Wake Forest. As you can see, all of my last 4 ends are here in this screen. All the 11 seeds here. You'll see St. John's, Wake Forest, New Mexico, Indiana State gets in as an at-large. We'll see Drake later, but those are my last 4 in. St. John's, Wake Forest, New Mexico, and Indiana State. Villanova is right there. If you want to put Villanova over Wake Forest because they've been losing lately, Villanova over New Mexico because they've been losing lately, honestly, fine by me, but it's close. It's very close. I could see Villanova getting in one of those spots 100%. But yeah, St. John's, Wake Forest on the bubble here. Wake Forest has actually lost 2 in a row after beating Duke. Hurt them very much. After they beat Duke, a lot of people had them up as even a 10-9 seed. Then they lose 2 in a row. Now a lot of people have them out. I still have them in barely. Maybe I'm being too generous to Wake Forest right now. Maybe they should be out, but I do have them still in here as an 11 seed. Our 3 seed is Duke here in this region. Duke is playing very good. They just beat NC State on the road tonight, right before I started recording this video. And Duke looks very good. They are definitely in the running for a 2 seed. Say Iowa State loses early in the Big 12 tournament. Say Marquette loses earlier than expected in the Big East tournament. And Duke somehow, or Duke could win the ACC tournament. I mean, it's definitely possible. I think that would definitely get them up to a 2 seed. But Duke, maybe the top 3 seed here so far. So Duke right now might be the top 3 seed. But they get High Point. High Point, I was kind of high on them, but they've been losing a little bit recently. So I might change my mind on that. But anything can happen in March. To defeat Duke would be insane. But High Point coming in here as a 14 seed. Florida as a 7 seed. They have been playing very good, getting really close to locking in their spot into the tournament. And yeah, I like this Gator team a lot. I think they are a sleeper team in March Madness to look out for 110%. TCU's been dropping a little bit. They were I feel like a lot higher throughout the beginning and even middle parts of the season. But right now, they're still in that range. I feel like they are going to make the tournament for sure. But let's see if they can get up to like an 8 or a 9 seed. I feel like they could get to that range, maybe even a 7 possibly, but a 10 right now for the Horned Frogs. Marquette coming in here as a 2 seed. They are actually probably not my last 2 seed. I think Iowa State is probably my last 2 seed, but Marquette's probably my second to last 2 seed coming in here. But yeah, Marquette, very good team out of the Big East. They've been playing very good. Other than that one game to UConn, they've been on a tear recently. And Cam Jones especially. Cam Jones and Tyler Kolek, that backcourt is scary. And that's what you have to look out for March. So I feel like not too many people talking about Marquette right now, but they are definitely a dangerous team come tournament time. La Tech coming in here as a 15 seed. You could argue La Tech could be a 14. Like, you could even, if you wanted to swap them with High Point, that would definitely be fine. Or one of the 14 seeds that we're going to talk about here in our next slide. I'd be fine with that too. So La Tech is probably my best 15 seed here. And yeah, out of Conference USA, they could definitely be able to do something there. Midwest region, we do have Purdue as our number 1 seed. They, of course, are going to take the Midwest Detroit region if they get the option to choose it. And Purdue, no doubt about it, they should be a number 1 seed. Houston, Purdue, UConn are almost locks at this point to be number 1 seeds. Who's going to get number 1 overall seed? Right now I have Houston, but it could be any of these 3 teams. But Purdue gets the number 1 seed. They're going to be going up against Grambling State, who is probably the worst team in the tournament. Who knows who's going to come out of that league. Right now I have Grambling State out of the SWAC, but whoever gets that is definitely probably going to... Whoever comes out of the SWAC is probably going to be the worst team in the tournament this year. But Grambling State versus Norfolk State... give me Norfolk State in that one, but how hilarious would it be for Grambling State to be the worst team in the tournament and then somehow upset Purdue? And wow, that would be insane. But I actually do think Purdue, this could be their year. This could be the year they win it all. I'm definitely considering them as my championship winner at this point. I definitely think that they could pull Virginia, lose to a 16 seed, come back the next year and win it all. Braden Smith has made such an improvement this year. He looks very, very good. I think the Lance Jones pickup is such a big pickup. One of the most underrated transfer portal acquisitions of the season. 100%. He is a game changer for the Boilermakers. And I definitely think Purdue does not lose first round. There's no way it happens again. I think that they get at least to the Sweet 16. I think that they could get to the Final Four with the right draw. But I think at least Sweet 16, Elite 8 for Purdue this year. And honestly, it could be their year. I'm between a couple of teams to win it all. Purdue is definitely in the mix of that. They look very, very good this year. They're going to be hard to beat. Coming in here at number 8, we do have the Texas Longhorns. And Texas has been playing better. They were actually about to move up to a 7 seed for me, because they played at Baylor here tonight. But that game just wrapped up before I started recording this video, and Texas did lose, but they were winning in that game. I kept them at an 8 seed. They were going to move up to a 7 if they were able to win that game, but I'm going to keep them at an 8. They're not moving down for that loss at Baylor, but they're looking pretty good. Honestly, Texas, dangerous in March. Max A. Smiths, you do not want to play Maxi Buckets in March Madness. But they're here as an 8 seed right now. 9 seed, we do have Mississippi State. Mississippi State has been playing pretty good as of late. They got Tolu Smith back middle of the season. They got some hoopers on that team. I feel like Mississippi State is another very underrated team. One of these 8 and 9 seeds are going to do great. I mean, Nebraska, Colorado State, Texas, Mississippi State. Whew, it sucks they have to play a 1 seed second round, but I feel like one of these 1 seeds are going to lose in the second round. Not specifically Houston or Purdue, but it could be UConn or other 1 seed, which we'll get to. in a second, because that last 1 seed is definitely up for grabs. But our 5 seed in the Midwest, we do have San Diego State. I feel like they deserve a 5 seed at this point. I'm pretty high on the Mountain West, and San Diego State, 100%. We saw what they did from a 5 seed last year. Can they do it again? App State getting a 12 seed out of the Sun Belt. Playing very good. They have a good win over Auburn this year. They have 2 wins over James Madison this year, which is huge. And if they win the Sun Belt tournament, then that means they're probably going to beat James Madison for a 3rd time. I feel like they would deserve a 12 seed if they can do that. Kentucky coming in here as our 4 seed. In this matchup right here, Kentucky and Samford would be an absolute shootout. This game would be like 110 to 100%. Like, this would be an insane, fast-paced, high-scoring game that I need to see. Whenever I saw I had Kentucky as a 4 seed and Samford as a 13 seed, I was like, this has to be the matchup, because that would be a absolute treat. But yeah, Kentucky playing very, very good right now. They're up to a 4 seed for me. Almost had them as a 3 seed. I'll go ahead and kind of spoil something for the next slide. Baylor is one of my 3 seeds. If Baylor would have lost to Texas tonight, Baylor would have dropped to a 4. Kentucky would have jumped to a 3, just because Kentucky has been playing so good lately. A 3 seed for Kentucky is 100% up for grabs. And if they win out and win the SEC tournament, I don't think a 2 seed is insane to say Kentucky can go out there and grab, but I think a 3 seed is definitely in reach. They are my top 4 seed for sure. Kentucky coming in here in the Midwest. Samford coming in here as our 13. I really like the Samford team. A core. They're fast-paced. They press. Given the right matchup, I think that they could win. If they go up against a slower team, I definitely feel like Samford can pull off the upset. Now, unluckily for them, they're going to have to play a very high, fast-paced team and a very high-scoring team in Kentucky, one of the best offenses in college basketball. Can they keep up? Can they play defense on them? We'll have to find out. Clemson coming in here as our 6 seed. I could see Clemson as a 5 seed just because they're non-con, but I feel like a 6 seed is a perfect spot for them right now. New Mexico, although a 5 seed is definitely in reach for Clemson if they play good at the end of the year. 11 seed, we do have New Mexico, Indiana State. Like I said, New Mexico, they're pushing it, them and Wake Forest. So if you want to swap one of those out with Villanova, fine by me, because Villanova's been winning lately. New Mexico and Wake Forest have not. And that quad 4 loss for New Mexico against the Air Force at home was bad. That was bad, and that may keep New Mexico from getting into the tournament, honestly. But New Mexico is going to have a very, very strong into the year. Same with Wake Forest. Same with Villanova if they want to get in. Indiana State, I do actually have them in as an at-large bid. I believe that they have done enough. They have been playing amazing. Why not put Indiana State and Drake in the tournament rather than teams that have just not been playing as good and just don't deserve it? Like, would we rather see Indiana State and Drake get in, or would we rather see like Colorado get in? Like, come on. We want to see a 2-bid Missouri Valley Conference this year. We need to see it. We need it. Creighton coming in here as our 3 seed. I think Creighton 100% deserves a 3 seed. If they were able to win out and win the Big East tournament, I don't think a 2 seed is insanely out of reach. I definitely think that they could, take Marquette's place if they were able to win the Big East tournament 100%. But Creighton, they're locked to make the tournament. They're in as a 3 seed right now. A 2 seed is not out of reach as long as they can win the Big East tournament. Akron coming in here at 14, coming out of the MAC conference. I really like this Akron team. I don't hear a lot of people talking about Akron as a potential team to get an upset. If they could somehow maybe get to a 13 seed, they get a good matchup. Akron might be scary, so look out for the Zips. Nevada coming in here as a 7 seed. Again, this shows you how high I am on the Mountain West. A lot of people, do have San Diego State high, do have Utah State around a 7, but the rest of the teams are no higher than like a 9. I got Nevada as a 7. I got Colorado State as a 9. I still have New Mexico in, which is controversial for sure. But I'm very high on the Mountain West. Nevada coming in here as a 7 seed. FAU as a 10 seed. FAU getting in as an at-large. I believe their non-con wins get them in, especially the one over Arizona is huge for them. But I think that they have done enough. I think they've done enough to get an at-large bid. I'm getting FAU here as a 10 seed. 2 seed in this region, we do have Iowa State. I think Iowa State deserves a 2 seed. Some people would have Kansas as the 2 seed instead of Iowa State. I could see it because Kansas had such a good non-con, but I think Iowa State has been playing better in the Big 12, and the Big 12 is the best conference in college basketball. And Iowa State beat Kansas this year. I like Iowa State here as the 2 seed for now. And then we do have Oakland getting the bid out of their league. How about them? How about Oakland, man? How about Oakland? They're definitely a sleeper. They're definitely a sleeper as a 15 seed. If I had to pick any 15 seed on here right now to get a win, it would be Oakland. I like them a ton. Let's go over region number 3 and region number 4. As you can see on my 4th 1 seed is the Tennessee Volunteers. I do have them in as the 1 seed over North Carolina, over Arizona, but those 3 teams right there, North Carolina, Arizona, Tennessee, are very, 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 very close. And if you want to say Arizona or North Carolina should be the 1 seed right now, our last 1 seed, I would not argue too hard back with you, because right now I believe it's Tennessee that deserves it. Especially with that win over Alabama on the road recently last Saturday. I think that they deserve it, but I think it's going to come down to conference tournaments. If Tennessee wins the SEC, I think that they get it. If North Carolina can win the ACC, I think that they could get that 1 seed. If Arizona can win the Pac-12, finally take down Washington State, I think that Arizona could get it. It's very up for grabs, and it will definitely be determined in conference tournament week. But in our East region in Boston, UConn is going to take that region if available, and they are the number 1 overall seed. They're going to be going up against either Merrimack or Stetson University. Coming in here as an 8 seed, I'm a little bit higher on Gonzaga than most, especially after that good win, revenge game on the road against St. Mary's that they got the win back, and they beat Kentucky on the road recently. Those are 2 quad 1 road wins against St. Mary's and Kentucky, 2 teams who have been very hot as of late. Gonzaga 8 seed. If they can win the West Coast Conference tournament, I think that they could get as high as a 6 or a 5 seed. But when it's all said and done. So Gonzaga climbing. It feels like just last week they were a bubble team. Now they're all the way up to an 8 seed. 9 seed, we do have Michigan State. I just don't know what to do with them. But honestly, their quad wins and their quad win-loss is pretty good. Like, you look at the net rankings, Michigan State is still right up there. They 100% deserve to be in the tournament. But they just seem so inconsistent. We'll see what they can do this year in the March Madness tournament from a 9 seed. If they get a tough draw where they're going to have to face Gonzaga first round, if they can somehow beat them, they get UConn in the second round. Tough draw for Sparty, but if anyone can do it, it's Tom Izzo. 5 seed, we do have South Carolina. I believe South Carolina deserves a 5 seed at this point. That's another team I might be a little bit higher on than most, but I think the Gamecocks deserve it. I think the SEC is a very good conference, and they've been killing it in that league. 12 seed, we do have McNeese State, maybe the most dangerous 12 seed this year. And I think they get a good matchup with South Carolina. I think I would take that all day. McNeese State is a force to be reckoned with. They have an insane backcourt. Shahada Wells is a absolute stud. McNeese State is going to be a problem. BYU is our 4 seed. BYU is one of my top sleepers, and I love this Cougar team. They can shoot the lights out. They have one of the more underrated offenses in college basketball. I don't hear enough people talking about them. BYU deserves the 4 seed right now. I see most people having them more as the 5 or a 6. I like BYU here as a 4 seed. I think they deserve it right now. Vermont is my 13 seed. The Catamounts just consistently winning their league. I think they win their league again this season. Wisconsin come in here as a 6 seed. I think a 6 seed is a good spot for them right now. I could see them maybe as a 5. A 5 is definitely in reach for them, especially if they can do really good in the Big Ten tournament. Possibly a 4 because they do have a good resume. It's just as of lately, they're kind of playing bad at the wrong time. So I think a 6 seed is a good spot for them right here. Virginia is our 11 seed. Wisconsin, Virginia, I feel like, one of them deserves to lose because they both haven't been playing the best as of late, especially Virginia. Virginia's got to get it together, man. They were on such a good win streak. I had them all the way up as like a 5 seed. Now they're all the way back down to 11. Like, what is going on in Virginia right now? I just don't know. This is the most Tony Bennett defensive team ever. Like, this is insane. The defense that they're playing, Virginia basketball, what can I say? 3 seed is Baylor. They're staying at the 3 seed. I mentioned I was going to drop them for Kentucky if they did lose to Texas, but they ended up beating Texas, securing their 3 seed right now. 14 seed, we do have Colgate, the toothpaste, winning their league. They're coming out of the Patriot. 7 seed, we do have Dayton. I did give them the at-large. Like I mentioned earlier, I gave Loyola Chicago the A10 tournament win, and I gave Dayton an at-large here as a 7. You could argue, man, maybe that's too high, especially if they don't win the A10 tournament. I could see them dropping to an 8-9. But I do believe that they get an at-large bid. 10 seed, we do have South Florida. Them or FAU. I think they both get in a 2-bid American this year. 100%. I love the South Florida team. Even if they don't win the American tournament, I think that they should probably get in here as a 10 seed. I like the South Florida team a lot. They make it in here for me. Them and FAU are in. Whichever one doesn't win the tournament gets the at-large from me. But they're both 10 seeds. 2 seed, we do have North Carolina, the Tar Heels. Definitely not out of reach for a 1 seed. Like I mentioned, if they can win the ACC tournament and win out in the regular season, and Tennessee does not win the SEC tournament, Arizona does not win the Pac-12 tournament, I think North Carolina 1 seed is not out of reach 100%. I love this Tar Heel team. I love RJ Davis. He is so fun to watch. He has been killing it lately. North Carolina gets the 2 seed here in the East, and they're going to be going up against 15-seeded Quinnipiac here in this one. Last region, we do have the West region in Los Angeles, LA. Not Louisiana, Arkansas. That is Los Angeles, California. And Tennessee is your 1 seed right here. And like I mentioned, controversial, it's very close between them, Arizona, and North Carolina, who gets that 1 seed. Let me know who you guys think deserves that 1 seed right now in the comment section, because I'm open to hearing Arizona, North Carolina. I think they're all in the mix. I have no idea what the committee is thinking right now for that 4th 1 seed. I have Tennessee right now. Eastern Washington is my 16th seed, coming out of the Big Sky Conference. Eastern Washington, not a bad 16 seed, to be honest. 8 seed, we do have Northwestern. Northwestern is a very good team, another sleeper team that I like in the 8-9 I mentioned earlier. One of these 8-9s that I have in this bracketology could definitely make a run. Northwestern and Texas Tech are honestly both in that mix. Northwestern and Texas Tech both have awesome backcourts. That is going to be a very fun matchup. I really hope we get to see a matchup like that in the first round. Would be a absolutely classic close game. 5 seed, we do have Auburn. We have 3 SEC teams as 5 seeds: Alabama, South Carolina, and Auburn. And honestly, I feel like they're all pretty close, and I think they all deserve 5 seeds right now. So I'm fine with it, man. Auburn, 5 seed right now, but all 3 of them, honestly, depending on how they do in the SEC tournament, one of them could climb up and get that 4 seed 100%, not out of reach. But they're going to be going up against Drake. Drake getting the 12 seed here. I mentioned earlier, Drake and Indiana State both getting bids here. We get a 2-bid Missouri Valley. You love to see it. But Drake is dangerous, man. Tucker Deverays is a stud of a player who can take over a game. How will he do against this long, lengthy Auburn defense that can smother him? They're probably going to put like KD Johnson on him. Oh, that's going to be such a good matchup in the 5-12. I love it, man. Illinois gets a 4 seed here in the Big Ten. I like this Illinois team a lot. They've been playing pretty good. I think a 4 seed is warranted for them right now. They're going to be going up against the College of Charleston. Was a very hot team last year. One of the best mid-majors in the entire country last year. Was unable to get the upset done in the first round of March Madness. Will they be able to get it done this year? They didn't have as great of a season record-wise, but right now they're turning up at the right time. Maybe that could be for the better, and they can get a win this year in the first round as a 13 seed. 6 seed, we do have St. Mary's. St. Mary's, they were a 5 seed for me. I think after that Gonzaga loss, dropped down to a 6. Gonzaga's up to an 8. They're pretty close. I could see them, if they win the West Coast Conference Tournament, definitely getting back up to a 5. If they lose to Gonzaga, make it to the West Coast Conference Championship game, I could see them dropping down to a 7, Gonzaga dropping up to a 6 or a 5. But yeah, St. Mary's here as a 6 right now. Seton Hall is our 11 seed. I have Seton Hall getting in right now. They definitely need to get more, to keep playing good. They just did get beat up pretty bad by UConn. I don't knock them too much for that, but they're gonna need something to lock in their spot to March Madness here at the end of the season or in the Big East tournament. Kansas here as our 3 seed. We have 2 Big 12 3 seeds, Baylor and Kansas. It is not out of possibility for Kansas to get a 2 seed. I feel like they're right on that 3 line right now. And, depending on how the end of the season goes, they could get up to a 2, they could go down to a 4, but I feel comfortable with them as a 3 seed as where they are going to end up. 14 seed, we do have Yale. I have Yale coming out of the Ivy League. Princeton is probably the best team in the Ivy League. Cornell is pretty good as well. But Yale is in that mix, and I decided to switch it up. Have a little bit of a bid steal. Not really, because they are a top 3 team in that league, and Yale is a very good team. But yeah, let's go with the Yale here as our 14 seed out of the Ivy League. Boise State getting a 7 seed. Boise State has been so good this year, and definitely not a ton of people talking about the Broncos this year, especially when they're bringing up Mountain West teams that could go far. Not hearing too much about Boise, but I got them up here as a 7 seed. I think that this could be the year they at least get a first round win. Oklahoma here as a 10 seed. I do like Boise, I think, in this matchup. But Oklahoma, they were a team, they got off to a very strong start, especially in the non-con. Haven't been doing too great as of late, but I do think they are a tournament team. And, let's see if they can get hot here at the end of the season. Right before March Madness, get hot at the right time. Back to the way they were playing towards the beginning of the season. 2 seed, we do have Arizona. Like I said, Arizona could definitely be a 1 seed. They're probably my top 2 seed. Them in North Carolina, which is why they are going up against, in the same region as my 4th 1 seed. That is why Arizona gets there. But they will be going up against UC Irvine out of the Big West. Them or UC San Diego. It's looking like the top 2 teams in the Big West. One of those 2 teams will get it, I think, either way. They get the 15 seed. So that is going to do it for the 4 regions. Let's talk a little bit about these first teams out. I think I did have 10 first teams out for you guys. Usually it's the first 4, but I wanted to give you guys a longer list. Every team that I think at least has a shot at getting a bid to the tournament. So Villanova, keep winning. They win one more, they're probably going to be in my next bracketology. It's arguably they should have been in this one over teams like New Mexico, Wake Forest. So Villanova, literally right there. James Madison, I don't know if, I think that they could get an at-large bid, especially with a good win over Michigan State. That win's not looking as good as now as it used to, but that still was on the road. That was still a very solid win. I think they might have to win the Sun Belt tournament. I don't know if we're going to get a 2-bid Sun Belt if they lose again to Appalachian State. So I feel like James Madison might have to win the Sun Belt tournament to get in, but they're very close, man. Providence is a team, they've been losing a little bit recently. They need to do pretty good. They need to win probably 2 rounds in the Big East tournament. That can get them in for sure. Colorado needs to have a good run in the Pac-12 tournament to get in. Same with Utah, but they're both real close. Iowa has been playing a lot better as of late. I think they need a little bit of a run, maybe probably 2 wins in the Big Ten tournament. They can maybe get in, especially if other teams lose. Memphis is starting to be playing pretty good. Wins over FAU, wins over UAB. 2 very good teams in the American. These are both home games for Memphis, but they've been playing a lot better. They need a run in the American. They might have to win the American to get in. But they definitely need a run. Pitt and Syracuse out of the ACC, I think they definitely need to make splashes in the ACC tournament. They need to at least make it to, I would say, possibly the semifinals of the ACC tournament. If Pitt or Syracuse can make it to the semifinals of the ACC tournament, I think they have a legit shot at getting in. Ohio State is definitely a team that has been turning up recently, after they fire their coach, kind of getting a fire under their belts. I think they need to make a little bit of a run. Again, like Pitt, Syracuse, but this time in the Big Ten, I think Ohio State needs to make it to the semifinals of the Big Ten tournament to be able to have a chance at a bid. So those are kind of teams that, my first 10 teams out here all have a chance. Still, they're not completely dead yet. They can get into March Madness this year. So let me know down below in the comment section who was the biggest snub on my bracketology. We're going to do an updated one here soon, and come out with a couple more updated ones before Selection Sunday here in 2 weeks. We're going to fill out a bracket here in a couple of days. We got the hot takes coming out. I'm going to give you guys we're going to take a look at your guys' hot takes. We got a ton of college basketball content coming out, though, here very, very soon. This is the best time to subscribe to this channel. We're super close to 5K, so hit that sub button, hit that like button if you guys enjoy, and you guys, thank you so much for watching.